All right. Welcome everybody to Why Choose BoldTrail. Thanks for joining today. I actually had a call from an agent who I had actually worked with a little bit over the last couple of years getting into the KV Core platform, and he told me they're switching us to BoldTrail and was a little panicked. And so I had to tell him it's okay. KV Core is now BoldTrail. So I think this slide will help a little bit if you were feeling any confusion or if you were feeling the same way. Let's talk about that. So Inside Real Estate is the parent company here. And we started out as Conversion, if anybody remembers that name, and then became KV Core. And now the evolution of KV Core is BoldTrail. What is BoldTrail? BoldTrail is all of these logos that you see on your screen here. So it's what we've done over the last 15 years is we've basically gone and compiled a list of technology that we believe is the best technology in the industry. And we've adopted it, we've built it, we've integrated it into our platform so that you can access all of the tech you need with one login. We know that there are a lot of different components that go into running your business. We know you wear many hats, whether you're an agent or a broker. There's a lot of things that you need to accomplish and a lot of things you need to stay on top of. It's hard to do, especially managing, several different software platforms. And so we really wanted to be able to provide all of that to you in one centralized location. So you can kind of see the journey that we took here and to present day. We're BoldTrail now. And like I said, this is the evolution of the program. So a lot of these things are going to feel really familiar to you, but there are a lot of new things too. So another question I get asked frequently is, do you have websites? Yes. Do you have a smart CRM? Yes. Do you have transaction management? Yes. But I think really what I'm being asked when you asked me these questions about the software is, can you help me with a certain aspect of my business? And the answer is yes. I've had agents say, can you help me grow my sphere and manage my sphere? Yes, that's what these tools are for. Can you help me generate leads? Yes. In fact, we know that it's not just one portion of your business that you need to focus on. You need to be able to holistically focus on growing and scaling your business as a whole. And so all of these different features we have, it's great, but the way you relate the features back to your business and apply them and implement them, that's what's really going to make you successful. So yes, we have tools that can support you in the beginning with generating new leads and then helping those along the pipeline. And it can also help you with staying connected to your sphere and your past clients and retaining those clients so that you can get repeat and referral business. And that's really the important part here. So I wanted to flash this slide up and just show you some of the tools that I get asked about the most. This is not an exhaustive list, but it gives you an idea about what we have available. And then why don't we take a look at some of the new functionality you'll see moving over from KV Core to BoldTrail. And then I want to get into our philosophy as a tech partner so that you can understand why we create and innovate the way that we do to help support you in your business. So this first new feature, this is called OmniSearch. And this is one of my favorite functionalities. I've always believed the search should be optimized and function this way. And now we have it available for you. So you can see in the past, it was used simply to just locate leads. So you could type in a name, a phone number, an email, and it would pull up the lead information. But now you have the ability to type in a keyword and it will actually populate resources at the bottom of the section or actions that you can take that are associated with those menu items or keywords that you're searching. So if you're looking for smart campaigns, you could type in smart campaigns and not have to go through each menu on the left side navigation and try to figure out where it is. You can just actually easily locate it now with the OmniSearch. And this is something that we've got a lot of new ideas about, and it will be constantly evolving and growing to make using the platform more simple and more streamlined. And then we have the mobile app. This is exciting. We've been able to do some work on the mobile app. We know you are mobile. You are probably out on the go more than you're at home, which makes sense, right? Especially if you're a successful, busy agent. And so we've also made the app faster and smarter for you. We've streamlined the navigation in the app, and we've made it clearer what your task actions are, as well as making some updates to the UI just to make the app more usable, make more sense. And we have some fun planned enhancements for the app that I'll talk about a little bit later, but that's a fun feature. We also have the custom pages editor. This has become one of my favorite features over the last few months because you have a website and it is connected to the MLS. So it's already pulling in pictures and details of homes, which we know is very important to people starting their home buying or selling process. But the pages editor also gives you the ability to create custom pages that contain content that are going to really convey your brand and content that will be highly engaging to website visitors. What I love about this is it gives people more and more reason to continue coming back to your site. And when you drive website engagement, you're also capturing insights from those behaviors. So you can see what they're engaging with. You can see how many times they're visiting your website. And the more data you have, that gives you clarity on what you should be engaging with and what you should be taking action on, the better. So the other thing I love about this is it's all inline editing. We've got templates that you can select, and you can just change out some of the wording, or you can use a template you like and create something totally new. And you don't have to know code at all. It used to be that you had to either, pay us to create a custom page or go pay somebody else, hire somebody else to do custom work for you. And now you can do this all on your own with just a few clicks. You end up with these really beautiful, professional looking pages. And there's more. We have really a lot of things in the works, and these are just a few highlights. The interface has been modernized. We actually tracked usage across the board. And what we did is we took the most used items and we made them all available on your dashboard. So everything's easier to find. We've modernized the interface. We unified the call and task management, making that a lot easier to work and clear out. And the MLS deduplication, this is an exciting feature because this allows you to dedupe all of the listings and clean up your list, especially if you're boarding with multiple MLSs. Gives you a cleaner, clearer experience as well as your website visitors. All right, let's talk strategy a little bit. So all of the strategy I'll try to correlate back to the tools that we create and innovate on. But I want to start with this quote: you don't automate to get rid of the human, you automate to amplify the human. I keep saying I want to add an AI into this quote as well, because automation and AI are two pieces of technology that are just really coming to the front lines for real estate tech. If you're not using automation, if you're not using AI, you're probably missing opportunities. So let's talk about what that looks like for you and overcoming some of these roadblocks. Like I said, we've been doing this for a long time. We have a lot of data. We've been able to track and talk to a lot of agents. And what we found across the board is that they're generally running into these 4 issues. Either there's a lead gen issue, a follow-up issue, which is probably the number one issue, right? Lead conversion is also a big issue. And then client management. So some of the problems we see here are with lead generation, the average agent is generating less than 10 new leads per month. That's a big problem because we know that volume is a big piece of being able to create consistent business transactions. Lead follow-up, almost 50% of real estate leads never get followed up with, and that's crazy. The average industry average is 1.2 touches per lead, and you actually need 6 on average to be able to actually connect with the lead. So it's strikingly low compared to where it needs to be. And the way you do lead follow-up is using automation, right? I'm not saying you have to go and proactively make that call or send a text message 6 times, but if you are at 1.2, you need to significantly increase the number of touches per lead in order to secure more opportunities. Lead conversion, the industry average is less than 1%, and that has a lot to do with the lead follow-up, if we're being completely honest, and staying connected to your leads. 93% of consumers say they would use their agent again. 15% of consumers actually use the same agent again. Huge difference there. And I'll tell you right now, the biggest reason that happens is because there's a lack of communication, a lack of awareness, and that oftentimes comes back to using automated sequences to follow up and stay connected with your leads. So we're going to talk about those 4 challenges and how the technology helps you to solve for those problems. But I also want to touch on this slide a little bit too, just because it helps us understand today's consumer a little bit better. We call this the battle for the consumer. You've got companies like Amazon and Google who've created a different kind of consumer demand. In this world of internet, it's really easy to access information at the touch of a finger. You can pretty much overnight any product to your door, your front door, and sometimes even receive it before you wake up these days. And so the speed, the transparency, the value, this is really what your consumers are expecting, even though you're not an e-commerce kind of company, it's a service, right? But because consumers have been conditioned to being serviced this way or treated this way, this is the level of experience they're looking for in any industry. And then we've also got this big dog competition. This is like big portal companies like Rocket Mortgage or Zillow. What we're seeing here is these big competitors are pretty aggressively pursuing the same customers that you're pursuing. So there's this competition between agents and big portals. And they're using your listings to generate leads, and then the leads are going to somebody else. So how do we compete, right? Well, the good news is this is some data that we actually got from NAR, and this is agent based data. So the consumer's interaction, the consumer journey with agent websites. So we know that 90% of consumers started their search online, and 85% of consumers visited an agent website during the home journey. So not the portal site, an agent site, which is actually really good news for you. And then 75% of those consumers registered on agent sites for listing alerts. Listing alerts, we know, are the number one driver for engagement. And another thing I want to point out here is this personalization kind of component that goes into today's consumer. I mean, if you look at this list of apps, you've probably got half of these on your phone. At a minimum, you've probably got 4, right? Or on your TV, you've got Netflix, Spotify, Facebook. And what we see here is total personalization. They have code or an algorithm that pays attention to what you as a consumer are interacting with. And so every time you log in or pull up the app, it's actually serving up information that it thinks you're going to be interested in to get more engagement from you. And I don't know if you know this or not, but your BoldTrail website has similar functionality. So there's this user portal. When somebody registers as a lead, that also creates a user credential for your website. So every time they return to your website, they can be logged in and the site is remembering homes they've saved or the search alert criteria. And so that experience becomes a bit more personalized every time they revisit. The emails that get sent out from the platform are tailored to the properties that the person has been viewing and the criteria that they've set up in the search alerts, right? So something to be thinking about as we continue on here. This is really our full strategy, and it really revolves around these 3 pillars. So number 1 is being found, which is how are you being found by new leads? How are you getting in front of new eyeballs and getting more leads filling your pipeline? Be connected. This is how you're getting that speed to lead, how you're generating conversations with the leads in your database. And then being involved it's also conversation related, but it's really like, how are you staying connected to these leads who you've had transactions with or people who are in your sphere, so that when it comes time to give a referral or repeat business, they're ready to do another transaction, you're the person that they choose. Let's dive in a little bit more to the be found. This revolves heavily around your online store, which is your website. You have a website, it's personally branded to you, it's up and running, it's connected, it has lead gen capability, but your responsibility is to put that out there and drive traffic into your online store. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. You can use ads, you can use print materials, you can post on social media, you can send it out in newsletters or have a blog or email, right? And this is kind of going back to the custom pages. You can create custom content that people are interested in that are going to bring them back into your online store. Or it could be as simple as just posting new listings that are coming out, area information that people will be highly engaged with. And the nice thing is, when you start posting your website and getting out there publicly, you'll have analytics in your BoldTrail dashboard that tell you what people are engaging with. So you'll have like a top 10 areas. If you're wondering what areas you should be promoting and talking about, we tell you that based on user engagement. So driving consumers to your store is key. I like to talk about the lead funnel here a little bit whenever we talk about lead engagement. And this kind of goes back to, we talked about that stat where most agents are generating 10 or less leads per month. So let's take 10 as an example. If you drop 10 leads into this funnel, how many leads are you going to be able to actually have a conversation with? Usually I'll hear people say 1. That's not really true. If you call and you get speed to lead, you'll probably be able to talk to about 5 of those. Not saying that all 5 are going to be interested or ready, but you'll be able to connect with probably 5 people. So we'll just use that half rule, okay? Out of the 5 people who you talk to, how many are actually actively looking to buy or sell real estate? If we cut that in half again, we've got 2.5. I'm going to go down to 2 just to be generous. And then out of the 2 who are actively searching, how many of those are going to be motivated to actually transact in the next 3 to 6 months? If you say 0, you're probably spot on. Out of 10 leads, you're likely to get 1 or less transactions per month. You really need something more like 40 or more leads per month in order to generate an actual transaction. And so that's something we think about when we're innovating and creating these different tools, is how can we maximize the number of leads you have coming into your funnel, understanding that not everybody's going to be ready right now. You're going to have some leads who come in and they're just looking, and that's okay. But the more leads who come in, the more likely you are to get some of these motivated buyers who are getting ready to transact, buyers or sellers, right? So really, in order to get top of funnel and bottom funnel leads, you've got to be spending some time and you got to be spending money. Whenever I pull this slide up, I always have people say Facebook is on both sides and Instagram is on both sides. Yes, it is. So there's different strategies, right? So Facebook, you could just post on your business profile or your personal profile, and you could be getting leads from friends, family, people who follow you on Facebook, but they're not a lead in your system, or, people who are friends with people who follow you. And that's great. But when you run targeted ads, you're really getting in front of an entirely new audience, and you're stepping outside of your sphere and broadening the scope of the eyeballs you're getting in front of. So, you could be running ads placed in different places, using different platforms. And that's really the money side of it. The thing about these ads, some of them you set up by yourself, but a lot of these are solutions that are done for you. And then on the time perspective, a lot of this is really just you setting it up on your own and figuring it out on your own and managing it and tracking it. And there can be a really heavy benefit to spending time figuring those kind of things out. But you're the only person who knows what the right mix is there for you. One of the tools we have in the platform that combines a lot of these tools is called the Playbook. And Playbooks really are a game changer. For example, the Promote a Listing Playbook is designed to help you attract new leads based off of your listings, which is your most valuable asset, right? Whether you are looking to maximize opportunities in your own database, or if you're trying to get in front of a new audience, the Promote a Listing Playbook is actually going to bring together all of the tools in the platform that you could possibly use, whether it's leveraging time or money, to promote a listing and generate new leads. And it's all in this one location. So you don't have to go try to find everything and figure it out. It really is just a playbook where you go line by line and complete each item. You can skip items if you want to. And I believe there's only one item with a cost associated to it, and it's less than $100. So it's very affordable to promote a new listing and get new leads. And then we have a lot of other solutions in the lead engine. You have things like a landing page, which is a single website page that it contains a curated list of homes or a single home based on criteria that you set up. And then, I'm sorry, that's a squeeze page, what I was just talking about. The landing page is a way for you to sort of gate content. So if you have like something like a buyer's guide, and this is something you can use in conjunction with these custom pages that you create, and you can, put really interesting information out and say, okay, for access to my buyer's guide, or get a free, whatever it is, budget checklist for first-time home buyers, they would just enter their email address in to get access to this download that you have, or this custom page that you have, and that'll register them as a lead. You also have call and text capture, lots of different tools you can use. And then we also have our marketplace. These are going to be the done for you kind of solutions, the paid for solutions. And we've got them starting out pretty low cost, and they go up to a hefty budget if you've got budget for that. But there's a lot of different solutions here that you can use to generate leads. There's also a lot of integrations that you can use to help with productivity. And what I love about the marketplace is all of these solutions have been tested and vetted by us and as integrated as possible. So if you're using something like Property Boost, when those leads come in, it's also using functions like hashtags for easy contact management and sorting and filing. And then it can trigger things like Smart Campaigns. So you can build this whole system that is really a set it and forget it kind of thing within BoldTrail once you set it up. So what do we do now that we have leads? This is the be connected portion. This is all about driving conversations. Like I said before, I'm going to go back into this mindset of understanding today's consumer. So there's a couple things I want to point out here, and we are going to dive in on the next screen a little bit more. But we know this stat, right? 9 out of 10 consumers start their search online. 92% of transactions originate online. Pictures and details of homes are the #1 driver of engagement. I've said that before. But consumers love to hide behind the wall of the internet to gather content. This is something I want you to remember, because this kind of goes back to our funnel, right? Where people come in and they'll register as a lead, but they'll say, oh, I'm not really interested, or I'm just looking. And they're being truthful. They're not interested because maybe they haven't formed an opinion yet about what they are looking for, and so they can't communicate that to you. So really, they prefer to just be able to access information and just stay hidden a little while longer until they've formulated an idea that they can articulate and start having a conversation with you about. There are essentially 4 demographics of consumers that are shopping today. And I think the thing that stands out to me most about that is really the way you market and communicate with these leads. If you think about something like millennials versus Gen Z, well, I should say Gen X. We'll do the difference between Gen X and millennials. So Gen X are more likely to have a in-person conversation with you. They'll interact with mailers, emails, and millennials are more likely to interact with social media posts, text messages, right? So the way you market and the way you communicate to these different demographics is important to remember. And there are the tools in BoldTrail that allow you to do both or all, and hopefully get a broader range of people that you're able to connect with. 72% of leads work with the first agent they talk to. That's another thing that I just want burned into your brain, because it's super important to remember. You've got to make the effort to connect with these leads, because if you're the agent they talk to, you're likely also the agent they're going to transact with. And then we did mention they're looking for a personalized experience, so I won't spend time on that. But this is our consumer timeline. And I'm just going to let you take a second and look at this. We've got phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Both of these timelines represent almost a 2-year average. This is from the time a person becomes a lead to the time they transact. And phase 1, this is really that area I was talking about, people wanting to hide behind the wall of the internet. And we call this the pre-research phase. Hopefully that's making a connection with you. Pre-research, because they probably just woke up one day and said, I wonder what's out there. I wonder what my home is worth. And they decided to go search online, and lead capture is a thing online. And so they know if they want to get access to information, they have to register as a lead. They're okay doing that because they want the information, but they're also 100% okay with not talking to you and ignoring communication from you. That's okay. these users in phase 1, let them search on your website, but send them information that's going to help them move along to phase 2. So you could call them, they could say, oh, I'm just looking. And the conversation is, well, here's what usually happens. You go, oh, okay, I'll leave you alone. And then you go and archive the lead or delete it. Don't do that. So what you really should do is say, oh, you're just looking. Oh, well, what are you looking at? Are you just interested in prices in your area? Are you looking for a family member? Asking some questions here can really help you understand where they're at. Oh, I was just curious about, my neighbor's house went up for sale and I just wanted to look at that. Oh, well, what did that make you think of? Were you just, wanting to see pictures of their home? Were you curious about how much it was selling for? You see where I'm going with this? So, and that's okay. And then you just end the conversation with, you're welcome to keep looking on my website. You have your user login. It's the same as the information you entered on my lead form. So feel free to browse around. I've got a ton of information on there. If you ever have questions, let me know. People who have questions are in phase 2. They're in active research. So they're out of pre-research. They've looked at all the content and the listings and probably have done a mortgage calculator or, whatever it is that they can do on their own. And they're finally getting to this place where they can't answer their own questions anymore. You can see this is also where relevant content and value propositions start to come together. This is where you start to become valuable to them because you can help answer questions that they can't answer. So if they spoke with you a year ago or 8 months ago or whatever it was, and they're starting to get into this phase 2 and you allowed them to access information on your website and you've been communicating with them over time, they are going to talk to you. But if you don't do those things, you can't expect them to reach out to you when they're ready. And I'll show you why here in just a minute. Phase 3, everybody knows what phase 3 is. This is where, 3 to 6 months, they're ready to transact. They're putting a sign on their lawn. They're listing the home. They're going to, sign an agreement. You're all probably pretty familiar with this, so I won't spend a lot of time here, but phase 1 and phase 2 is really important for you to understand where they are so that you can meet them where they are and help guide them along the process. So, what is your number one goal when you get a new lead? Just going to pause for a second so you can think about that. Usually, when I ask this question, I get answers like, get another appointment, build rapport, sign a contract, build trust, build a relationship, get a transaction. And those are all wonderful outcomes. And I'm going to say none of them are actually wrong. However, your number one goal when you get a new lead has to be to stop their search. Think about it. We know that leads become a lead 8 to 10 times before they ever talk to an agent. So how can you increase engagement with these new leads? Make sure you're the first person to connect with them and stay connected to them before they talk to another agent. Why? Because 70% of leads will work with the first agent they talk to. Remember this? How many agents are they seeing on the big portals? If they've stumbled on your agent website, you have a huge opportunity to be the person that they work with. If they're on your website, your personal agent website, and not on a portal website, there's a good chance you're going to be the person that they talk to. So your job is to either get them talking to you or engaging with your website. Keep them coming back to your website because that's engagement. That's getting your face in front of them, your information. You're giving them the information they want, and you're eliminating the competition because they know they have a safe place to get information. And going out on the portals or on other agent website is just going to make them become a lead again. And it's just more people they have to ignore, right? Not super healthy, but we do see that a lot. So 4 strategies to drive lead engagement. Let's talk about this because, like I said, your job is either to get them to talk to you or engage with your content. And talking to you feels scary, especially for people in phase 1, right? So the best thing you can do is one of these 4 strategies. And all of these, except for one, are automated. So search alerts, market reports, and smart campaigns and behavioral automation. Those technically could be 2 different things, but they are automated. And what this is doing is sending information to the lead on your behalf. And search alerts are great because when a lead interacts with properties on your website, the search alert gets set up automatically. So this is where you get that really personalized experience that says, oh, you looked at these websites, or you looked at these properties. Here's more of what you liked and what you were interacting with, right? And then they actually have the ability to go and manage that criteria on their own, or they can reach out to you and say, I got this listing alert, but I want to change some things. And that gives you an opportunity to talk to them. We know that this information is valuable. We know it's the #1 driver. So we definitely want to use search alerts. Market reports are great too, just for the consistency's sake. If there's really nothing to go off of, you can at least be sending a market report. And it's going to provide information that's going to have links back to your website. So, if somebody pulls open this market report and they get curious about a certain area, it's going to lead them back to your website where you get insights from their behaviors. Similar in nearby listings, this is one of my favorite features because it's just a couple of clicks. So this is manual. This is not an automation, but you can see which properties your leads are looking at. You can click on the property in your BoldTrail account and then look at, there's a button that says similar listings and a button that says nearby listings. And if you click on that, it gives you a whole curated list of properties in that area or properties with the same kind of criteria that they were looking at. So this is not, it's similar to what they'd receive in a search alert, but it's curated by you, right? So you can select all the listings or just a few handpicked and then just send it in an email or text and say, hey, I saw you were looking at this. Here's a few more that looked similar. I didn't want you to miss out on seeing these. It is one of the easiest things you can do, and it feels really tailored, and the client goes, wow, that's really going above and beyond, right? So I love that function, and I also love the smart campaigns and behavioral automation. These are sending messages out that are trying to generate conversations. A lot of agents have a really hard time wanting to use smart campaigns, but because they'll say, oh, well, that doesn't really sound like me. So to that, I will say, one, having something is better than having nothing. And especially for new leads, they don't know you. So they don't know the tone. They don't know your brand. It's just important that they're hearing from you and connecting with you. And B, I will say that I probably just did one and then B, but you get what I'm saying here. So 2 or B is that you can fully edit any of the communications in the platform. So all the smart campaigns are editable. You just have to take the time and be accountable and make sure that you're going in and do a little time blocking. I know everybody hates that word, but it's important. It's so important for you to get multi-touch communications figured out and automation figured out so that you can be communicating in an effective way that's going to maximize opportunities for you. Okay, so moving on to being involved. Let's talk about this for a minute. This is your secret to staying involved. This is your recipe for success. Really, it's only 2 things. So simple, yet it can feel really complicated. Number 1 is you should always be creating paths back to your website, clickable links, QR codes, text codes, things like that, that are going to make it easy for people to land back on your website, get them back into your online store. And number 2 is compelling content. There are all sorts of things could be compelling content, but the compelling content is really how you get people interested in clicking on the links that are going to drive them back to your website. So what is relevant content? Here's a few examples, but again, not an exhaustive list. And I'll say nothing is more engaging than what your leads are already engaging with. So you have business analytics, like I said. Really, the best thing you can do is kind of leave them alone, get them on automation, get information in front of them, and then see what they engage with, give them more of what they're engaging with. For phase one, there's a lot of content. It's really kind of generalized and it should appeal to a broad audience. Educational information is great. Tips and guides that people can download, like a buyer's guide or a mover's guide or something like that, right? And then listings, pictures and details of homes, which your website is already equipped with. It's already geared toward phase one leads. So there's not a lot you have to do here, but there are some low-hanging fruit, like the custom pages that you can use to create those guides that could be really effective for you in the strategy. And then phase two, this is where you're going to get into more specific kind of use cases, really hyper local kind of content. Your testimonials and reviews become important here, right? Because this is where your value prop starts to become important and they start to go, okay, what can this agent do for me? And then FAQs are really great, actually. You know, when you start having conversations with people that they're going to have a lot of the same questions. So if you have a resource that can answer all of those, that's a really great kind of piece of content to have. Phase two, people are going to be more likely to interact with a call to action. So if you want them to download something or call you or, you know, whatever it is, whatever your call to action is, they're going to be more likely to interact with that than any of the other phases. And then this is really where your niche comes into play. If you have a specific kind of group you work with, first-time home buyers, veterans, 55 and older, those kind of things are great to create content around as well. And then phase three, it's not a lot on the automated scale here, right? And not a lot of things on your website either necessarily, because this is all really specific to conversations you're having with your client at this point. So the reason we love automation and the reason we love driving people back to your website is because of these behavioral insights that I've been sort of stringing along in the conversation. But you can see some of these behavior triggers here. And this is what happens when you start getting content out there that people can interact with. Someone who's in phase one might look at a few homes and then disappear for a few months. But if they revisit your website after a certain time frame, and then maybe they're on it 5 days in a row, or they're looking at the same property over and over and over, BoldTrail actually alerts you to that behavior. It lets you know this person is exhibiting high intent behaviors, and it's probably a good idea for you to reach out. It can also send out information on your behalf if you're using the behavioral automation, like I mentioned on one of the previous screens. So this is really cool. This is more data-driven insights that you can use to see who you should be interacting with. And it shows up right here on your dashboard. So you can see if somebody has viewed a property when they open your market report, if they asked a question on your website, or if you just have a new lead. It's all on your primary page when you log into BoldTrail, just taking the guesswork out of it. So you don't need to go, who should I talk to today? It should all be displaying here. And if you don't have activity on your dashboard, that means you need to be doing some lead gen and some nurture and engagement kind of activities, right? This is one slide I wanted to show you to sort of help wrap up this conversation. We talked about consistently adding new leads. These are the keys to driving conversations. Less than 10 leads per month is over on the left side here, and 40 or more leads per month is on the right side. Agents who add 40 or more leads per month are doing 5 times the transactions than agents who add 10 or less. And we know why, right? Following up quickly, this is your speed to lead. This is gauged on login rates. And the reason we did this is because we know if you're logging in, you're looking at your leads. You could be logging in on your mobile app and looking at new lead notifications. You could be logging in, working your dashboard. But agents who log in every working day, so 20 times per month or more, are doing 9 times the transactions than agents who don't log into BoldTrail every day. And then multi-touch alerts. So this is using your automations. If you have contacts on automations, in fact, 50% or more contacts on automations, excuse my alarm there, any kind of automation, you're doing 3 times the transactions than agents who are not using automation for a multi-touch approach to stay connected to your leads. So I just want to let that sink in. This is why we use the tools we use and why we employ the strategies, because we know that these strategies are successful. So on top of that, we also have Bold Academy. We also have BoldTrail training. This is really our in-house coaching program. It offers a series of tools, live webinars, on-demand courses. We've got short form and long form videos, downloadable resources, and an active community where you can mastermind and share best practices. We focus on business planning and implementing these strategies into your daily activities, mindset and accountability. Really, we just want to support you and empower you to take your business to the next level. And with that, why don't we take a look at a few of our upcoming enhancements or innovations? I'm excited to talk about these things. We've got, first up is OmniSearch AI. And this is really turning your database into an engagement and referral machine. It highlights properties with a high match potential, and it surfaces these almost perfect homes to your clients to keep them engaging and active. This is a lot like that similar and nearby listings that I was talking about, but it's actually done automated using AI. And so instead of you having to go and manually click, even though it's super simple, easy process, this is actually just done on your website and surfaced to your clients in real time, giving them that really tailored experience. And then there's also, I talked through that screen. There's also this engagement email that you receive, and it gives you information on which activities are working for you. So you can actually see some of these stats here. You can see people in your database who don't have new alerts. You can see how many dormant leads got re-engaged, how many people opened your emails, how many clicked through the link to your listings page. So this is really exciting stuff that we're looking at here. And this is just a little bit of the taste of the AI that's coming. That should be launching in Q4, which is coming up quickly. And then we've got your, and excuse me, I think I'm getting mixed up here. There we go. We have our enhanced mobile app. So this is one of the other things I was talking about early on, where I told you we've got some enhancements coming to the mobile app. We're bringing AI into the mobile app, which is so cool, because basically what this is an AI voice transcription that's going to turn your conversation into actions for you. So it can actually automatically set up a search alert based on your conversation. It can assign a follow-up task to you. It can even capture key client details that you might have missed. So you don't have to take notes, and you also don't have to worry about information slipping through the cracks. You speak and the app handles the rest. Really excited for those enhancements to come. Vitals is another thing I really love. This gives you kind of a health score of your database. It gives you insight into your personal productivity, and it gives you direction. So when you log in, this is another thing that these are things that are going to impact your business. Your people who've reached out to you who are awaiting a response, people who are engaged, viewing in listings, new leads that you haven't contacted yet. So it just gives you really clear direction on what you should be focusing on when you log in. And then we've got Folio. This is another AI-driven technology. It's a transaction management email assistant. So it's like having an email assistant that is pulling information from your emails, things like timeline, syncing with your calendar, creating smart folders, documents, and creating next steps without you having to go look through all of your emails and sort through them. It's really a neat function. And then we've got deals. I'm excited for this one to come out. This is basically your own personal performance metrics. This feature captures the full pipeline journey from every stage, from nurture to appointment to close, so that you can manage your database more effectively. There's conversion reporting. Every stage of the client journey is holding valuable indicators. And these are, like I said, based on your own performance. So you can actually see, based on how many new leads I got this month, how many conversations did I have that led to appointments? How many appointments did I have that led to somebody moving into client status and under contract and closed, right? So this isn't just, take the industry average. It's actually going to give you your deal conversion calculator. And so you can do all of this math and calculate your GCI and your number of leads that you need based on your own personal performance. So I don't know if there's anything better than that, than knowing exactly what your actual conversion rate is so that you can reverse engineer and create goals based off of that. With all that said, I'll just end by saying Inside Real Estate is committed to real customer outcomes. We're committed to being a reliable, proven technology partner. We're committed to providing service, training, and support resources that will help you scale your business. And we commit to continuing to be a leader in innovation to keep you at the top of your game. Thanks so much for joining today. BoldTrail is your CRM of choice. If you've been on KV Core or BoldTrail, all you have to do is log in to take advantage of the end-to-end ecosystem